Hello everybody and welcome back to the last ever video of Michael Morpurgo books collection. Now I was saying in the last video we was going through a lot of Michael Morpurgo books, well-known ones and maybe some not well-known ones. But if you've got any questions about all these books, leave a link in below. Also click that bell button and also subscribe to this channel. It would mean a lot to me. As we speak, there's this bad thing called the coronavirus. The reason why I'm doing these videos is to make everyone happy. These are like little history. Some of these books I'll get into history. I'm very good at history, but this channel is mainly about books and history books. So there's going to be a lot of channels about books and history. So that's what I'm very fond about. But as I said, let's get into the video. Now, I forgot to mention the published dates of some of the books, so I won't forget this last book. We've got some books, so this might be a quick one than the others, but here we go. So this is Michael Morpurgo's book, The Amazing Story of Adolphus Tips. Adolphus Tips, published in 2005. Haven't read it. I'm hopefully going to read it. As you can see, this the Bookseller Association Author of the Year. So Michael Morpurgo from this book got Author of the Year, which is good for him. But anyway, there's a little bold a bold bit up here saying the incredible tale of a deserted village, a lifelong friendship, and one very adventurous cat. So a bit like War Horse, where it's focusing on his point of view of what the war was like. So it's 1943, so it's the beginning of the war, in World War II. So this cat, so here we go. We're going to read a little bit. I won't read all of it, but we'll read the first bit. Lily Trexana lives on a farm in the seaside village of Slapton, and her life is scarcely touched by the war, until one day when the villagers are told to move out of their homes, lock, stock and barrel. So immediately in this first bit, it said that the villagers are told to move out, so which means they're evacuated because of the wars broken out. But anyway, soon the whole area of the bounds as the Allied forces, which means good soldiers, prepare to invade France. But Tips, Lily's adored cat, has other ideas and returns to the forbidden area. Frantic to find her, Lily decides to enter the danger zone to look for Tips herself. So this is technically a bit like War Horse, but this is World War II and War Horse was in World War One. So as well as War Horse was about the boy who raises his horse, then the horse goes to war, and then the boy wants to get his horse Joey back. But this is about cats called Tips, which means that the cat is gone off and to look for an adventure. But her little owner Lily wants to bring him back home for good. So it's kind of emotional. You never know what's going to happen in it. But as I said, it's a good book for teenagers or youngsters around about 10 to 14. But anyway, it's really good. Yeah. Next book is Alone on a Wide, Wide Sea. This book came out in 2006, so again in 2000s. So this is about World War II. So yeah, I haven't read this book, but as you can see, it's a very big book, so I recommend teenagers from 15 downwards to 14 or 13 if you're really into Michael Morpurgo. But as I mentioned, it's one of Michael Morpurgo books in years, which was by The Observe. It's got a lot of chapters, a lot of pages. I think it goes up to 301. But it's got a lot of big words, But as I said, let's read the blurb. Orphaned in World War One, or World War Two, I mean, Arthur is separated from his sister and sent to the other side of the world. There his extraordinary journey continues as his friend Marty survives brutally captivity on a working farm. Find a new family with eccentric Auntie Meg and her animals, and discovers their talent from designing yachts. 60 years later, Arthur's daughter Alice sets sail single-handed in a yacht designed by her father. Determined to find his long lost sister in England, can family love stretch across time and the vastness of the oceans? And will the threatened afterlife finally come together? So this is a story of a boy who's on a yacht and he wants to find his long lost sister in England. So he has a big journey ahead of him. He's got to cross the ocean. Don't know what ocean it is. If you know that, if you know this book, leaving questions down below. But if you know it, tell me. I'd like to find out. I'm really good into that. But anyway, here's one of Michael Morpurgo's incredible books. I haven't got no words to describe this book than other than brilliant, amazing. So, Born to Run came out in 2007. It's a really good book. As you can see, let's read the blurb for a bit. I won't read. I may read all of it. I'll probably read up to survive. For best mate being rescued is the only start of his adventures. From unwanted burden to favourite companions, and from pet to champion race dog, this remarkable greyhound proves that it is not just cats who have more than one life. Cast aside kidnapped or living rough on the streets, best mate can always find a way to survive. But will he ever find a real home? So this dog is a champion racer dog. It's a greyhound, so it's built for speed. And this dog is on the streets. And as it just said, cats who have more than one life. So cats, what he's saying there, this dog is more than a life ahead of him. He wants to find a real owner, a real home, a nice home. But I recommend anyone who wants to read it, parents, teenagers, adults, not kids. I wouldn't say kids, maybe parents can read it to their kids for a few pages. But yeah, I recommend it to anyone. And if you got any questions about these books, leave in the description below. Give me any questions. But we move on to... Now we've got two books that came out in the same year. We've got Michael Morpurgo Running Wild, which came out in 2009. We've also got An Elephant in the Garden, which came out in 2009. So we've got two books that came out in the same year. Running Wild is the elephant lifted her trunk and began to trumpeting at the sea. She swung around and held on for her dear life as she stamped into the shadows of the jungle. So it's about animals on an adventure. So that's why it says running wild. Animals in the wild are technically running wild. They've got no boundaries to go. They can go wherever they want. But I think it's about an elephant. But it's about, as we can see here, for Will and his mother going into Indonesia on a holiday is a chance to put things behind them and have some fun. So technically it's about a son and a mother having fun while they're in Indonesia, but they don't realise that he's found a good friendship with an elephant. I don't know much about this book, but as I've mentioned, give me any questions, or give me, or if you know that book and you want to, and please tell me some of these books. Some of these I don't know. I've got some new ones, but leave in the description below. I like to answer your questions, and I like to answer them, and you can give me some questions, Anyway, this is the same year of Michael Morpurgo, 2009. As you can see, Germany, 1945. So we're in the middle of the war between Britain and Germany. Elizabeth, Carly and their mother are in Dresden, where the Allied bombs began to fall. Their homes destroyed. They must flee to flee the ruined city through the perilous snow-covered landscapes, all the while avoiding the Russian troops who are drawing ever closer. It would be hard enough without an elephant to look after. So we're in the middle of a war. Germany in 1945. Elizabeth and Carly have to move out, and their mother are in Dresden. So Elizabeth and Carly are on their own to find an adventure. But anyway, so yeah, good book. Haven't read it. I recommend anyone. So yeah, now we move on to Shadow, which came out in 2010. It's about, as you can see, it looks like Afghanistan war. This book is about a war. As you can see, there's a dog on the front, so I'm guessing it's about the dog giving a point of view to the war. As you can see, there's a quite yeah? No? That was my sister interrupting the video, but that doesn't matter. We'll get straight back into it. So Shadow, it is but life becomes more dangerous in the moment eventually. In Shadow, but I've shadowed them, and in a terrifying new world, it is really safe. So this is about a roller coaster. So it's ups and downs in life. But this is about war. It's about the dog telling the war. But I recommend anyone reading it. If you got the book, that's good. If you haven't got the book, there's also other bookstores, W.H. Smith, Waterstones, etc., etc. Next, we move on to A Medal for Leroy. Medal for Leroy came out in 2012. It's about Michael doesn't remember his father. He was an RAF pilot lost in the war, but that's all Michael knows. So in this part, we can tell that he's lost his memory. He only remembers him being an RAF pilot in the war. So I'm guessing roughly in the Battle of Britain. I'm guessing roughly about 1940 or 1939. But it says here, but when Michael's auntie shows up, he gives him a medal, and then faded photographs, the story begins to be told. So his auntie is telling him memories of him to get it back in his head and to remember his family. But as I said, this book is, haven't read it yet, but I recommend anyone who wants to read it. Let's move on. Michael Morpurgo, Eagle in the Snow. This book published in 2015, one of my new books. I got this one with Butterfly Line. So as you can see, we have German soldiers, a white-balded eagle, and an Alsatian. So that's the book. So this book is in 1940. As you can see, the train is under attack from German fighters in the darkness. Sheltering in a railway tunnel, the stranger in the carriage with Barney and his mother tells him a story to pass the time. And what a story. The story of a young soldier in the trenches of World War One, who, on the spur of the moment, has done what he thought was the right thing. It turned out to have been the worst mistake he could ever have made, a mistake he must put right before it's too late. So, as you can see, this is a powerful novel from the master storyteller, Michael Morpurgo, of course, who inspired by the true story of one man who might have stopped World War II. So it's a true story. Michael Morpurgo likes to put his books based on true things and true events, which I find really interesting because I'm into like World War II and World War One and other things. But this is the last book. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm sorry for the interruption, but hope you liked the video. Click that bell button. Also, like and subscribe. and I'll see you later.